If you're getting married this next year, congratulations. I'm really happy for you, and I hope you took a pre-marriage education class so that you can be ready for the big transition ahead. But no matter where you are in this journey, if you're feeling some marriage anxiety, I want you to know it's completely normal. A lot of people end up having terrible marriage anxiety, and that doesn't mean they don't have a great marriage. It just means that with a big transition like this, they're very open and honest with themselves. They're not lying about what's happening, and depending on their expectations and their age and their past experiences, it can cause severe marriage anxiety. I know because I had it. And I had one of the types I'm going to tell you about right now. There's a pre-wedding jitters. I had that type. Like the night before, I was so afraid, like, what am I getting into? Am I sure this is the right thing? This guy is really different than most of the people I dated. And I started going back to like past experience and past relationships, who I was as a person then, who I am now. And I was young. Thankfully, this did pass, but the first year of marriage was really tough because I had to work through a lot of this stuff. The second one is the post-wedding blues. I'm dealing with many clients right now who are struggling with this, and it makes total sense. You go through all this preparation, all these different vendors, and everything is about the wedding, the wedding, the wedding. That when it's over and the excitement is done, no doubt your mind is going to be missing all that. So you're grieving all of the prep work. You're looking at your marriage and you're thinking, is this all there is? That usually comes when someone really wasn't prepared, or if some catastrophic event happened during the wedding. This can cause it too. But more than likely you will get through it. And if you don't, if it continues into 2 months, then you certainly would want to see a professional. Infidelity anxiety. Let's face it, 1/4 of all people, all partners, admit to an emotional affair or a physical affair of some kind during their lifetime, and they have it broken down with how long they've been together. But there is realistic reason to worry about infidelity. Not only that, you may have seen your parents with one of them cheating or having an affair. You might have had a past love where either you cheated or they did. Anyway, infidelity is part of our relationship ideas. We have to consider it. And it's another reason I tell people you need to talk about infidelity before you ever say, I do. You need to have that discussion about what the boundaries are, what would be the recourse, and everything else. Because whatever you don't talk about during times of great stress, especially if your fiance, if they watched as a child their parents deal with affairs or cheating, you can bet that that's going to be on their list of coping skills during intense times of stress. Conflict anxiety. Maybe you grew up in a home that had a lot of fighting, people couldn't get along, and that's made you very, very afraid of being honest, of getting into a fight. You don't want to argue, so you do the opposite. You hold everything in. This is very difficult for a healthy marriage, and the reason is because you're not being real. You're not being honest, and your partner can feel it. And they start saying, can I trust this guy? So if this is part of your problem before you get married, once again, that's going to be an important one to deal with, to resolve, so the two of you can argue, so you can have a fair fighting scenario, and you know how to talk to each other to resolve a problem without blaming each other. Now, the causes of marriage anxiety, there's many. The first is the one I had, unrealistic expectations. If you grew up and you always had a lot of different people who wanted to date you and you felt it was very easy and you kind of moved through the stages, there's going to be expectations you have that the person who really marries you is going to hold up their end. Anything you make unrealistic, you're setting a bar for your partner. That is not going to work in a relationship. And this is a primary cause of pre-marriage anxiety. Financial problems. If you came into the marriage with debt, or you notice your partner's a spendthrift, your partner has debt, these are important issues, then it can cause pre-marriage anxiety. Communication issues. Maybe you have a hard time talking. Maybe underneath everything, you're saying, I don't really know if we communicate well. Hey, it's not too late. It's never too late. You can start marriage counseling before you get married and take it into the marriage. It's going to be part of your life for a while. The first 2 years of marriage are really a time when you're figuring each other and the style out anyway. It's a good idea to invest in counseling. Infidelity anxiety. If you had infidelity in your past, I promise this can be a trigger for pre-marriage anxiety. Conflict, trauma, any kind of post-trauma you had as a child, anything you witnessed. It doesn't have to be trauma with your partner, although that certainly can cause it. And I would suggest, if you see any signs of abuse with your partner, that you do not get married. That rather than that, you leave this relationship entirely. Shouldn't even be thinking about marriage if you know that your partner is a potential abuser. A fear of change. Many people don't change easily. I know many in my own family that have a terrible time with change. They've slept alone forever, and they're now debating, do we want to sleep together? Do we want to be in the same room? That's a transition. It can certainly cause anxiety. Fear of commitment, cultural and societal pressure. If you're coming from different cultures, especially different religions, this can get in the way of planning a marriage, of being a husband and wife, and it's very difficult. So once again, these are all things that can lead to it. I think the treatment options are many. You can have cognitive behavioral therapy, talk therapy. Talk therapy is when you just go by yourself and talk to a therapist. This can be highly effective in helping sort out what's going on with you. You're getting underneath the issue. Your therapist will help you talk to your fiance about it. And you guys can once again still go through with the plans. You just are going to take the therapist with you. Mindfulness meditation can help a lot. It helps you get in touch with what you're feeling. You realize it's going to pass. Because remember, this anxiety isn't always logical. It's a bunch of stuff underneath. And when you meditate, you slow it down. You get in the present. Because when you're afraid, it's always about the future. And you don't know the future. You're guessing. And you're guessing it to be much worse than it probably will be. Any kind of, if your therapist thinks you've been depressed forever and you need a medication, they will oftentimes refer you to a psychiatrist or an MD of another variety that can help you get the meds you need. Couples therapy. This is very beneficial. We usually call it pre-marriage counseling, and I do a lot of it. And I think it's extremely important for couples. And lifestyle changes. There's going to be some things that you can change about your lifestyle now that are going to help you get in the groove after you're married. Because a lot of times after marriage, people take new jobs, they move away. I did both of those. And I'm telling you, I wish someone would have protected me and warned me. This is going to be rough. This transition is not going to be a cakewalk. And it wasn't. But you know, we survived. And I believe in marriage, and I believe in it for myself and for you, and therefore congratulations. If this video is helpful for you, please subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you.